I hate Disney. Every time your favorite IP appears in front of this greedy company's slimy fingers, they pull out the butcher knife and slaughter it beyond recognition. That's what happened to Tron 3, Tron Ares, the soft reboot that actually wasn't a soft reboot, and a sequel that made the flaws of its predecessor look like they were written by God himself. I honestly don't know where to start with this one. In my Tron Legacy Tron Ares video, this one, I predicted that Tron Ares would be bad, but I honestly didn't expect it to be this bad.
God help us all.
Tron Ares starts with a dialogue dump, giving us the up-to-date information that paints the showdown of the movie. We learned about two organizations, a company led by Evan Peters' character, Dillinger, and NCOM led by Sam Flynn. Wait, what's that? Oh, Sam Flynn stepped down? No! For personal reasons? Wow, it's like he didn't learn anything from Tron Legacy. This is going to be a common trend in this movie. Anytime you think about Tron Legacy, or something that happened in Tron Legacy may help explain or contradict a scene in this movie, you're going to bury that thought deep within the grid and lock it away, never to see the light of day. I think there's a lot of better excuses that we could use to explain why Sam Flynn isn't in the movie besides stepping down. What if there was an accident? A Dillinger accident? Or he went missing like his father, maybe locked in the grid. But nah, he just steps down, which doesn't help because anytime a problem comes up, you could say, why didn't you call Sam Flynn? Why didn't you ask for help? Anyways, we find out that Sam was replaced by Eve Kim, played by Greta Kim, and her sister, who were like dual CEOs and took NCOM to new heights. Both of these companies are looking for the permanence code, so they're engaged in a digital Cold War and a race to see who can find it first. I already was annoyed with this plot and realized that my predictions of Clue-like Terminator coming to the real world and destroying the human race was not going to happen. Bummer. The next two scenes we see the CEO at work. Dillinger is working on his Ares program, running a simulation over and over. I actually think the concept is pretty cool. Ares gets rebooted over and over until he gets better and better. I just think it lacks the information to make it any more than just a cute little action sequence, which again is going to be another issue with this movie. Every time a character in the grid is decommissioned, eliminated, they look like they're in immense pain, something you wouldn't expect a program to experience. Pain and death are living expressions. Why then, or how then, do programs experience this? Is it programmed, or is it a learned sensation? We never know the answer because the movie will never explain it, which is a missed opportunity. Instead of randomly becoming autonomous, Ares could have done this with a reasonable explanation, a glitch after being rebooted several times, a program's resistance to death. Eve, on the other hand, is in Alaska, Canada. It doesn't really matter. It's cold, it's isolated, and it's her sister's secret hideout. She's not alone. She's with her friend. Yeah, I don't know his name. He appears in only a handful of scenes in this movie for comedic effects, so sorry if I just don't care about him. He doesn't add anything to the plot except being the laser guy when we need him. Eve and her friend snowmobile down to the site, which, remember, is like Tron Legacy. Hey. Sam rode his bike through the city and was getting chased by the police. When Sam walked into his dad's arcade shop and turned on the lights. Remember? Yes, I remember. I remember it making sense. This doesn't make sense. Sam riding his motorcycle in the beginning scene of Tron Legacy was to show his skills and why he'd be able to compete in the light cycle challenge. Sam uncovering the arcade shop made sense because it was a clue that would lead him to his father. These scenes in Tron Ares don't have the context or the weight as the scene in Tron Legacy, which means they fall flat. Yes, Eve Kim was giving clues that the permanence code may be at her sister's remote site, but we don't find out that information until she's actually there, and it's just an afterthought. Eve and her sidekick work away fiddling with her sister's stuff while Dillinger is giving a presentation to some military leaders about the capabilities of Ares and the weapons that he has created on the digital grid. It's the same speech that we get in the trailer. It's annoying. It doesn't make sense. It's never explained how he can bring stuff from the digital world into the real world. It just happens. A 3D digital print. The laser shapes and makes the objects, and we find out from Eve's laser that she can literally make anything you want. I'm not going to say that Tron Legacy didn't have this problem. It did, but it did make a little bit more sense because Kevin Flynn was the creator of everything on the grid. Clue could just reprogram programs, not create them. I'll give the benefit of the doubt that Dillinger and NCOM created all of these digital imprints in their grids as a blueprint to create in the real world. I think the one issue I have with these digital creations is what Eve decides to make, a citrus tree. I could easily see making a tank or a digital super soldier, but how do you create living things? If you bite into that citrus, wouldn't it just break like all of the other digital objects? Even though this is Eve's plan to solve world hunger, I can't imagine that digital fruit would actually be a viable source of food or one that is nutritious. But whatever. We find out that after Dillinger's demonstration that Ares and all of the digital creations can only last in the world for 29 minutes without the permanence code. Why 29 minutes? Don't know, just enough time to advance the plot. This also is the moment where Ares becomes autonomous. How? Rain. Yes, that's right. He feels the rain and it makes him question his existence. Fine. Okay, let's see what Eve's up to. I bet she's gonna have to go into the grid. Oh, wouldn't it be crazy if like Clue was guarding the permanence code, or she has the permanence code?
I'll be damned.
What?
No freaking way.
Yeah, she just found the permanence code. Seriously?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
This movie had about 1,000 different directions it could have taken that would have been 1,000 times better than what we got. Like, what if, hear me out, Eve finds the permanence code in Flynn's old system. She then has to enter the grid in order to get it. At the same time, Dillinger, who is worried that Eve has been distant from the CEO position at Encom, is close to finding the permanence code. He hacks into her system, finds that she entered the grid, and decides to send Athena and Ares after her, or he could send himself after the program. Then, the entire plot is centered in the grid, which is where the cool parts of Tron are. The two groups try to find the permanence code, and then, are you ready for the big surprise? We could actually introduce Tron, the character this whole series is based on. Find out that Flynn's grid has been corrupted by Clue, and he teams up with Eve to find what she is looking for, defeat Dillinger, and escape the grid. This is just one idea my lazy ass came up with on the spot, and it already sounds 1,000 times better than this cesspool that we got. Okay, back to our regular scheduled crap. Eve finds the permanence code, uses it on a citrus tree, and then gets on a flight back to Encom to give the code to her friends, the board, whoever the people are that we don't care about. Dillinger hacks into her system, finds out where she's going to be, and then activates Athena and Ares to find her and get the code. Now up to this point, things have been stupid, but we are about to enter a whole new level of stupid. I swear, and I'm not joking, the rest of the movie is 80% chase sequences, and it gets beyond obnoxious.
Okay.
Hey, are you through yet? Because I'm getting tired of holding this.
If I wasn't planning on writing a review, I would have just slept because we learn nothing in these chase sequences, and all of them don't add anything to the plot. While Eve was transitioning from her sister's tech cottage to the plane, Dillinger completely nuked their grid, causing a malfunction at Encom's release party for their new video game. Eve learns this after returning a phone call from one of those friends, the temporary CEO, Ajaj Sin. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I honestly don't care. Ajaj is ticked off about the hack, but upon hearing that Eve has found the permanence code, he instantly worries for Eve's safety, saying that Dillinger probably knows that you have it. Eve brushes this off like it's nothing, which is just stupid. At least Ajaj feels the severity of their failure. Eve doesn't even shrug. Seriously, you have arguably the most valuable code in human existence. A code, in your own words, could cure world hunger. Why then would you take such a lackadaisical approach? You're telling me this giant tech company doesn't have massive security for their CEO, who is also holding an infinite money glitch? No, they don't.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
They just let her get on a motorcycle and cruise through the city. Her friend, who took the car behind her, doesn't even try to stick with her. This is not what normal people do. Dillinger, of course, finds Eve and sends his goons, Ares and Athena, after her. Here comes chase sequence number 1, light cycles. Before we get into this, I just want you to remember that Ares and Athena are super soldiers with unreasonable godlike strength, wits, and agility. Once they reached Eve, this should be over, but it's not. Eve and Ares are practically neck and neck, but does Ares reach over and snatch her with one hand, something he could clearly do? No. Instead, Eve manages to drop off an off-ramp, and Ares literally doesn't react. How? There was plenty of time for him to maneuver, but he doesn't. He then gets blocked by a truck, leaving Athena to pursue her alone. Athena follows Eve into a parking garage. Eve tricks Athena, knocking her off down a couple stories, only to be surprised when Athena gets up and starts running up to get her. Athena's running is kind of laughable. You can tell it's an actress that really doesn't know how to run because it does not look natural, but that could just be a part of her programming. Sure, whatever makes you feel like you need to defend this movie. Eve figures out how to drive Athena's light cycle and drives off. How she gets from the top of the parking garage to the ground, we don't know.
You're a wizard, Harry.
But she ends up on the ground, and now is being trailed by Ares. Everything about this life cycle chase is stupid. It's like they wanted this cool look of the bikes navigating through the city, but my issue is that the manner at which this is accomplished is full-blown idiotic. At any point, Ares could have knocked Eve off her bike. At any point, he could punch her, he could kick her, he could ram his bike down her throat. But no, we have to drag this sequence on forever. It's not cool, it's not exciting, especially when you remove the whole purpose for Ares being there. I don't know Dillinger's actual words, but he wants the permanence code. He doesn't need Eve alive to do that. Just collect the drive off of her dead corpse. You are a program. You don't care what the casualties are. You just need to complete your objective. Eventually the chase sequence ends, thank God, and then it's another stupid sequence. Ares' bike trips up Eve and she goes flying. I wish I could rewind and watch it again because the impact was hard. I questioned how she was not unconscious, dead, or seriously injured. But she literally just climbs out of the dumpster and starts running. And holy freaking crap, how is she faster than Ares? Oh. Ares eventually catches up to her, but Ares' 29 minutes are running out, so Dillinger has a plan B. Ares and Eve end up at the end of the dock. Eve figures out that Ares is a program as she is zapped with a laser gun that sends her to Dillinger's grid. I was frustrated with this movie up to this point, but when Eve gets teleported into the grid, I sat up in my seat a little bit. Yes, finally, I thought, we're headed back to the grid. This grid is not as good as the grid from Tron Legacy. I'm not going to say the visuals are terrible. The red is cool, but the grid doesn't have any love to it. There's nothing uniquely different compared to its predecessor, and unfortunately, I was left wanting more. What is the purpose behind it? Is the focus just military? Why is the portal always active? What is it to stop a random program from falling in? Lots of questions, no answers. Regardless, we are on the grid now. How will Eve escape this? You know Ares is going to play a role in this somehow, but to what extent? Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, this is going to be so... It's another chase sequence. I mean, Eve will probably be put in a prison or in a medical bay to extract the information from her brain. It's another chase sequence.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
This could have been another amazing scene. Dillinger, after all, gives the command to extract the permanence code from Eve's memory. Something we know is possible because of what Clue did with Sam in Tron Legacy. But they give no time for any of this tension to marinate. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Dillinger does wrestle from time to time, further escalating down a darker and darker path during the movie. We see specifically in this scene that he hesitates for a short, very short time before ultimately giving Ares the command to extract the code from Eve. Why couldn't we have waited longer? Why couldn't Dillinger have an extended conversation with his mother about the weight of this situation? She has at times expressed her concern with her son's path, and this would be a fantastic chance to expand on that more. Dillinger, in this scenario, still conflicted, could tell Ares to lock her in a cell. That then allows Ares time to think too. Ares could visit her in prison, having a conversation with her about why she is seeking the permanence code and what it could do for him. Ares could then be plotting his own plan to release Eve and head to the portal so he can gain the autonomy that he wants. Instead, everything is rushed. There's no time to think, no time to react, and within a minute, Athena is talking to Dillinger about killing both Ares and Eve. Ares then breaks the glass underneath them, falls from the main headquarters into the sea below, only to construct a boat to navigate to the portal. Chase sequence number 2. Before we head to chase sequence number 2, I have an important question for Dillinger. Why did you let it get this far? Ares started acting up and questioning some of your decisions. Wouldn't, as a big tech CEO, you either show excitement because your program is becoming autonomous, or great fear because your program is questioning your decisions? Dillinger wasn't afraid to pull the plug on other programs. Why not Ares? And especially when Ares becomes subordinate. Like, this isn't something you just let Athena do. You get in the code yourself and you just erase him. But then we wouldn't have chase sequence number 2. Hey everyone, look, there's flashy lights. Look, it's like the Tron world thingy. Oh, explosion! The Poco Vroom Vroom!
What you need. Mr. Vroomington's vrooming again!
Don't get me wrong, I'm not against chase sequences, it's just we had one like literally 2 minutes ago, but this one is in a boat.
Don't like boats, I don't like water. I'm a man, not a fish.
Ugh. Ares and Eve escape the grid only to be materialized back in Dillinger's base. Dillinger's 2 guards, that's it. try to take down Ares, who easily neutralizes them. Why these private security never have guns that they're willing to use is beyond me. It actually would have been pretty dope to see bullets bouncing off of Ares' armor. Instead, Dillinger just grunts at Ares, angry that he double-crossed him as Eve and Ares hijack a van and head towards Encom. Dillinger materializes Athena, and guess what? It's time for chase number 3. Chase number 3 is less of a chase and more of a head-scratcher. Eve and Ares are headed back to Encom Tower. They stop at a gas station to communicate with Alaska Friend so he can bring the laser, and Ares ends up stealing a guy's car. Athena has a 2 to 3 minute delay, which would seem like a big deal, but she has wings. That's right. But does she use that to track them down while they're at the gas station? No. Does she use it while they're driving through traffic and driving on the bridge? No. No, she doesn't. Dillinger literally says, do whatever means necessary to get Eve back into the grid. Why then? Why is she not following her command? She could easily swoop down, slice up some tires, and snatch Eve, or at least slow them down until Ares' time runs out. Eve and Ares make it to the tower. They find Flynn's old office, set up, and begin to find Flynn's old grid to send Ares in and hopefully find the permanence code. Any, and I mean any delay would have probably sent Ares back to the Dillinger grid, which would end up getting him erased. But nah, Athena just floats outside the window, waiting for Ares to disappear before attacking Eve. There's a weirdly placed scene where Ares tries to sacrifice himself, but Eve and Alaska Friend end up sucking him into Flynn's grid right as he's about to jump out the window. I'm curious why they felt they needed to add this scene. If it was completely removed, it doesn't change the outcome of the situation over the movie. Athena, seeing that Ares is gone, attacks. She slices the laser, preventing Ares from coming back, and then charges at Eve. Athena finally shows her ridiculous strength by flipping the pinball machines. She has the gun pointed at Eve, but then gets distracted by rain.
Rain! Rain!
Okay, it's not rain, it's the sprinkler system. It's weird that both programs are puzzled by this, but at least the writers are consistent. Sure. Athena dissolves right as she's about to shoot Eve, ending chase number 3. Don't worry, because chase number 4 will be right around the corner. Once again, I hate that they make every single program in this movie look like a dumb idiot. I get it, Eve is smart, but these are walking AI machines with commands to follow. But so much of this movie, Ares and Athena either make a decision that they wouldn't do or carry out a command so slow they run out of time. Compare their decisions to Clue. Clue is ruthless. He incites fear in programs, but also isn't afraid to kill if he feels the program is an obstacle in him achieving his goal. Every decision proves he's competent, powerful, and cunning. Athena may be those things, but it doesn't show in the movie. How would you define whatever means necessary? Once Athena arrives to the real world, she arrives with what? 2 henchmen in planes? The giant classic Tron archway? And some drones? Does that sound like whatever means necessary to you? No, it doesn't. Whatever means necessary is an army on speed bikes. Whatever means necessary is an overwhelming onslaught of troops, drones, and vehicles. See, when I saw this movie was PG-13, I thought, okay, we can take the kid gloves off a little bit. But no, they didn't do that at all. Honestly, Tron Legacy has more graphic depth, and it has a PG rating. These programs don't care for human life. Let them show their ruthlessness. We don't need to see blood and guts, but these programs are a threat. But they don't seem like a threat when there's no evidence. But Athena kills Evan Peters' mom. Yeah, what's your point? It wasn't gory, it wasn't graphic, and it also didn't raise the stakes. Even Peters doesn't even do anything with it, which I feel is a shame. At this point, he's gone down such a dark path. Let him go all megalomaniac. But instead, he just whimpers over his mother's dead body. It's just another wasted relationship. With just more dialogue, more conviction, more conflict, Evan Peters could have been an Anakin Skywalker, not realizing what he has done, but now it's too late to go back. While all of this is going on, Ares, in Flynn's grid, is directed towards Flynn and begins a conversation that I just had no heart to listen to. This was the scene I dreaded the most in the preview. We find out that Flynn is a manifestation of Ares' desire. I don't remember the actual language, but essentially, because Ares is there, Flynn is there. Sure, we will go with that. There's a lot of pointless talking, in my opinion. They talk about Mozart, about being a defective program, and in the end, Kevin gives him the permanence code. My issue with the permanence code is it has never been emphasized in any of the other movies. Kevin made the code, but when? But why? I guess this is a thought he could have had before dealing with the ISOs, but again, there's no evidence of this. Everything in the first two movies pointed to bringing us into the digital world, not the other way around. I get they wanted to put a little TV intro like they did in Tron Legacy, where he talks about bringing the digital world out here, but that directly counters the quote in Tron Legacy where Kevin Flynn says, "In there is our destiny." The other question is why? Why would Kevin need the permanence code? For Cora, who we aren't going to talk about in this movie? I guess that's a reasonable explanation, but again, it's an explanation I would have to provide, not one that the movie gives. Speaking of Cora, where is she? What happened to her? And don't tell me this movie is a soft reboot, because it's obvious now it's not. In the end scene, we see a picture of Sam and Cora together. So where is Cora? I just hate that this movie literally took a hot piss all over Tron Legacy, all over its ideas and characters that people love. Kevin's sacrifice means nothing because Cora is nothing. Anyways, let's just finish this up. Athena marches with her massive army, and Eve realizes that Athena will not stop until she gets Eve. So Eve makes the smartest move in all of the movie. She decides to run away on foot.
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
Son of a bitch!
You done messed up, Aaron!
Yeah, you heard me right. On foot. Eve literally could hop in a car and drive as far away as she could to run out that 29-minute clock, but nah. Let's run on foot. Does Athena take advantage of this? No, because that would be smart. And nothing in this movie is smart. I've always had an issue with this in movies, and Tron Ares is not alone. But where in the hell is the US government? You don't think a giant red archway flying through would trigger a response from the military? Yes, 2 fighter jets come out, but the second they get shot down, there would be 10, 20, even 30 more jets blasting through to nuke that vessel into oblivion. But that's not the only issue. This is the third anomaly in the last 24 hours. You don't think the Army, Marines, or National Guard would be all of this? I wouldn't even be surprised if they had martial law enforcement to either examine or set up a perimeter to restrict these anomalies from continuing. It's okay. Logic isn't a strong suit of this movie. Eve eventually is trapped. Athena binds her and throws her into her Tron tank. While all of this is going on, Ares, now with the code, uses Ken's backdoor portal to escape his grid. How freaking convenient. That would have sucked if Ares couldn't get out. Ares then confronts Athena. At one point, he throws his disc and completely destroys the tank, which dissolves into ash. This doesn't make sense, but I'm going to assume it's because his disc is like the commander disc. It's never explained, and I don't think there's enough evidence to help the audience know that this is going to happen. Regardless, Eve is thrown out of the vehicle, and once again you have to ask how she is not seriously injured. Ares and Athena then have a big fight scene. Ares defeats Athena, and at least one of my predictions came true. Athena says something like she was just following orders, and it's in her programming, and she dies in Ares' arms, not as an enemy, but a fellow program. Oh, how sweet. The rest of the ending is a typical wrap-up. Eve ends up happy. Ares ends up in Mexico or wherever with a picture of Sam and Cora. Ugh. And Evan Peters' character escapes into the Dillinger grid, preparing us for Tron 4, which is not going to happen. And if it does, God help us. Tron Ares is bad. And I'm begging you, don't see it. Don't chill over the money for Disney to continue to demolish our loves. Disney desperately needed a hit, but this isn't going to be it. My theater was mostly empty. And there's a laundry list of reasons why that is. There's some positives. The music is okay, but it's clearly a step down from Daft Punk and Tron Legacy. I actually enjoy Evan Peters' performance. I feel he's the only character that has a range of emotion. Jared Leto is robotic, which is fine, he's a program, but Greta Lee is not enjoyable to watch. Overall, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed because this movie could have been great. This is an AI IP, and the AI felt non-existent. At this point, there's nothing left to do but dig the hole and place Tron where it belongs, back in the grave. Rest in peace to another IP that was murdered at the feet of Disney. Rest in peace Tron, who will never be a main character in his own movies. Rest in peace Sam and Cora, who were banished to oblivion. And last but not least, rest in peace Kevin Flynn, who is truly rolling over in his digital grave as he watches all of this stupidity. I wish I could say the future is bright for our IPs, but as long as Disney is around, nothing is safe, and the next victim may be around the corner. I appreciate if you made it this far. As always, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to be a part of Adaptation Nation. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.